Alright people, it's your boy Kickswag15 here. We're going to do a 2017 fantasy outlook, or 27 fantasy, previewing the AFC North, whatever, for fantasy football this season. I might be playing this year, might not be, but I'm still gonna do this video series thing just cause. So let's preview the AFC North for fantasy players. Starting off with Cleveland. Now, I think recently started this thing called individual defensive players. You can actually draft defensive players too for sacks, tackles, and etc. I'm not gonna discuss any of that shit because I don't fuck with none of that. So, let's start with Cleveland though. Fantasy's all offense, so let's start with Cleveland. I wouldn't even take one player on Cleveland. None of their quarterbacks I would mess with. None of the running backs. Maybe Zaire Crowell, maybe Duke Johnson. Maybe. I don't even think of that. Not Corey Coleman, not Kenny Britt, not David Njoku. The only player I ever would have gotten if he was still there was Gary Barnidge, because he's actually a good tight end for him. So there's nobody on Cleveland I can think of. I wouldn't get Njoku. I wouldn't get Mikaju, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't remember how to pronounce it. Not Johnson, not Crowell, not Kaiser, not Kessler, not Osweiler, definitely not Osweiler. Not Corey Coleman. None of those dudes. Nobody from Cleveland I'd even think about drafting. So that's one team. Cincinnati. Now they have some decent players you can get in fantasy. I had AJ Green last year. He was a fucking beast. Until he got injured. But his targets are definitely go down this year. With Tyler Boyd in his second year. I'll have to delete some of that shit. Cincinnati, now like I said, AJ Green, he was a beast, but his targets will go down. John Ross, Tyler Boyd, and Brandon LaFell, and Tyler Eifert maybe this year. So definitely AJ Green to be good as usual. I would get AJ Green. I'd maybe get Andy Dalton as a backup. Tyler Eifert I want to mess with. He's you don't know when he's gonna be available to play. The running backs, Jeremy Hill, Giovanni Bernard, and Joe Mixon, I wouldn't touch any of them, honestly. Maybe if Mixon becomes the starter and actually is their legit starter and they're not rotating the back. So I would get AJ Green, maybe Eifert, but Andy Dalton as a backup, I wouldn't mind that. He's not bad. Maybe as a backup, spot him maybe on your quarterback's bye week. But other than AJ Green, maybe Eifert, maybe a Dalton, but I wouldn't get any of the running backs unless one of them is for sure the starter. So that's Cincinnati. Let's discuss Baltimore real quick. Baltimore, I would not touch not one player from their team. Not one. Flacco's inconsistent. He's good, but he's inconsistent. The running backs, Terrence West and Dixon, I think. I don't know who's the man there, and their receivers outside. I mean, Steve Smith's retired, Rashad Perriman. I don't know how he's gonna be. I don't know Mike Wallace. I mean, they don't really have any good receivers, and their tight ends. I mean, is Pitta's still there? I don't know who the fuck their tight end is. So I wouldn't mess with Baltimore's offense either on fantasy. But we haven't even talked about defense yet. Cleveland, I wouldn't touch their defense, and Cincinnati, I wouldn't touch their defense either. Baltimore's defense, I would get Baltimore's defense. They'll be a top 10 unit this year as far as defense. As far as offense go, Baltimore has no one. I wouldn't get anyone from their team. Now Pittsburgh, this is the team you want for fantasy. This is a team you definitely want to get some. They have a lot of good players for fantasy. Le'Veon Bell is going to be a top 3 pick in fantasy, top 5 pick at worst. We're talking Le'Veon, David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, Antonio Brown, and Odell or Julio, probably Julio. So, but Pittsburgh, they have some good fantasy players. Obviously, Le'Veon Bell is top 3, Brown's top 6, as far as fantasy. So, Le'Veon Bell, Brown, you want Ben. As far as Ben goes in fantasy, he has his off days. He's inconsistent at times. One game, like last year, he had a game with 5 touchdowns and 0 picks, and then the next week it was against the fucking After the Chiefs, it was the Jets. I mean, he didn't play too bad. But he has games where he plays the Dolphins where he's like 1 for 2, maybe 200 yards. So, Ben's inconsistent, but you can definitely get him as your quarterback 2, or maybe your starting quarterback 1. Just depends. He'll have some good days, like I said, and he'll have some bad days. Like last year, he had 3 picks against Buffalo, no touchdowns. So, but he's still a very viable QB1, but he's a little inconsistent at times. So you got Bell, Ben Brown, Martavis Bryant's gonna be pretty good this year too. I think he'll be top 30 as far as rankings go. I'm saying top receivers, he'll be ranked 20, like in the 30s, like top 30, top 20. He'll be really good this year if he comes back and plays all the games. He's gonna light it up. I'm going big time with him. I think 10 touchdowns and over 800 yards for sure. He's gonna light it up. Juju Smith-Schuster, I wouldn't get him. Wouldn't touch him at all. Eli Rogers, I wouldn't touch at all. Sammy Coates, I wouldn't touch at all. Darius Green, I wouldn't even touch at all until he can show he can play without concussion issues. Jesse James, I wouldn't touch at all. I wouldn't touch any of Pittsburgh's tight ends, but you can mess with their receivers and get Brown, Bryant, Bell, and Ben, but I wouldn't, not James Conner, I wouldn't get him. Nope, Brown, Bell, Ben, and Bryant, that's all I would get, so that's AFC North, people. I might continue that division predicting thing. I don't know, schedule prediction thing, but I will do this fantasy thing. So in a couple days or tomorrow, maybe I'll do the AFC South or West or East. I don't know, we'll see. But that's AFC North. I want to have a good Wednesday.